My fellow Liberians, despite our diversity, we are a united people, a great and noble people. Through the strength of our unity and the resilience of our determination, we have begun to rebuild a ravished country and have survived two deadly health crises. Our people have stood together as one united people, ready to face the future. Whether you are a fisherman of Grand Cru and Sino, the hunters of Grand Jide and River G, the farmers of Lofa and Bapolu, the Gola and Vai dancers of Bumi and Cape Mount, the hospitable people of Bassa and River Ses, the warriors of Maryland, the miners and explorers of Nimba, the merchants and traders of Bong, the welcoming people of Magibi, or the melting pot of Montserrado. We are one people, Liberians. We have a great challenge and opportunity ahead of us. In unity, we will rebuild this country as a shining example in Africa, demonstrating the power of a determined and united people. Our economy and our national budget will expand and grow like never before. We will improve the lives of our people and put smiles on the faces of our citizens. I promise you that together we can and will do the job. A new day is on the horizon. The time for babysitting is over. God bless you and God bless Liberia. My fellow Liberians, despite our diversity, we are a united people, a great and noble people. Through the strength of our unity and the resilience of our determination, we have begun to rebuild a ravished country. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to my fellow Liberians. I'm Alexander Cummings, and I want to use this opportunity to share with you my thoughts on the future of our country, on what we need to do to transform our country so that every Liberian benefits from the resources and the God-given gifts of our country. You know, there are a few things I often say, or a few refrains, as people say when you talk about music and singing and talking. And I say these things repeatedly. One is, we are too rich a country for us to be so poor. We have too many natural resources. We're endowed with so many gifts. We've got gold, we've got iron ore, we've got diamond, we reportedly have bauxite. We got 350 kilometers of beaches. We got all of these resources. We got agricultural land. And yet, we are a poor country. We are among the poorest in the world, and our people are suffering. This is not right. This should not be. The other saying I always say is that we cannot keep doing the same things and expect different results. We cannot keep selecting and electing the same kinds of people with the same kinds of experiences and expect this to change. We can, in our personal lives, if you want something to be different, you gotta do something different. You know, I often say, if you have a battery radio and the battery runs down, but you keep using that same battery radio, it will not work. So we gotta do things different nationally, individually, and collectively if we want our country to change. Best predictor of future performance or future behavior is past performance and past behavior. If somebody was good in the past, if you were a good teacher, or good nurse, or good lawyer, or good engineer, high odds will be good in the future. But if you were bad in the past, or you were a rogue in the past, or you lack integrity in the past, good chances are in the future you will have those same characteristics. So these are some fundamental beliefs and sayings that I want us to think about as we think about selecting the next leader of our country, somebody who really will serve us and serve our needs. But as a party, as a collaboration, the CPP, as a designer community, there are some things we want to commit to Liberian people that we will do to uplift, to empower, to enhance the progress of our country. And we divide those into what we call what we will do and the how we will do it. So these are the what's we will do and need to do to move our country forward. One is we have to invest in and we have to fix the infrastructure in Liberia. What do I mean by infrastructure? Infrastructure is simply we gotta improve the roads in our country across Liberia, roads within cities, across cities, connecting counties, farm to market roads. We gotta fix the roads. Infrastructure also means is we gotta electrify the country. You cannot do almost anything without consistent electricity. You know, in the 21st century, in 2022, Liberians celebrate when LEC comes on. That should not be. Electricity is so basic. You should flip a switch, you can run your business, you can study your lesson, you can charge your phone. We need to invest and provide low-cost electricity to our country, to our people. And then we gotta have clean running water, water and sanitation. Many diseases, waterborne diseases, are caused by lack of sanitary and potable water. So running water is part of the infrastructure plan. And then we gotta connect Liberia. You can drive to some part of the country for hours without any cell phone connectivity. We need to connect our country's cell phone infrastructure. Liberians should be able to use the internet wherever they are in Liberia. And so when we talk about infrastructure, that's what we need. We gotta invest in this. The second thing we gotta invest in is we gotta create jobs for Liberians. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Most Liberians are unemployed. Most of our young people don't have work. We are gonna invest, we're gonna grow the economy. We're gonna expand the opportunities for Liberians and we'll create jobs for Liberians. Then when we invest in agriculture, we have to feed ourselves. We cannot live in a country where we import everything we consume. Pepper, peanut butter, almost everything we consume. Rice, of course. We have to fix and invest in agriculture because it will help create the jobs. We'll feed our in multiple ways. So investing in agriculture is something we do. And then we gotta educate ourselves, educate our people. In education, we're gonna focus on teachers' education. There's a saying what they call garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have good teachers at all levels of education, university level, secondary level, primary level, you don't have good teachers, well paid, well trained, you're gonna get bad outcomes. You get students and citizens who are not well educated. In education, we also say we're going to invest in vocational training to give our young people skills in carpentry, in becoming electricians, and I mentioned carpenters, and plumbers, and masons. These are basic skills we need because when we grow the infrastructure, it will create jobs, and we want Liberians to take advantage and participate in the job creation. And then last but not least, we will invest in healthcare because you can be educated, you can have good jobs, you can have great infrastructure. If you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. And so fixing the healthcare system and focusing on what they call primary healthcare. Because what kills most Liberians are malaria, typhoid, hypertension, diarrhea, diabetes, and childbirth. And we need to make sure we got clinics staffed around the country with birthing rooms, with drugs, with trained nurses and midwives, so we can address what kills most Liberians. And so healthcare will be our order priorities. So those are the what's, right? We mentioned infrastructure, we mentioned job creation, we mentioned agriculture, we mentioned education, and we mentioned healthcare. These are the how we will do it. The first and most important how is what we call engaging hearts and minds. How do we engage Liberians in owning our country, in understanding and owning the problems, in understanding and owning the solutions, so that together we can solve these problems? How do we engage us? So we're not depending on other people. We're not over self-critical ourselves, right? We can work together as a people, we can unify. And so we must engage hearts and minds. And some of the ways we'll do it is deliberately using arts and culture and music and sports and religion. These things, if we integrate them, if we deliberate, will help to change hearts and minds. Sports teaches discipline. Sports teaches integrity. Religion talks about integrity, about treating your fellow man correct, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Arts and culture and music influences how we think about ourselves, how we frame, how we look at the world. So engaging hearts and minds is the first how. The next how is finding the resources, is finding the money to do all of the what's I talked about. And the way we'll find those resources is we will stop corruption. We'll stop the stealing that is taking place in our country and in our government. I will not take the salary. I have been blessed with the resources that I need to take care of myself, my family, my children, my grandchildren. And so whatever the salary is for the president, we'll invest it in helping to stop this corruption challenge we have, this stealing. We'll use it to invest in integrity institutions that will help to protect our country against people who want to steal the resources of our people. Because I'm so passionate, because the corruption or the stealing or the roguish behavior affects all of us. It's the reason why, one of the main reasons why we cannot invest in education to the level we should. We cannot invest in healthcare to the level we should. We can't pay teachers. We can't pay healthcare workers. We can't pay police officers. We can't pay our military people. We can't pay other civil servants what they are due because of few people steal this money and they put it for themselves and their families, and the rest of us suffer because of this stealing. So we're going to go after this thing called corruption. The ways we'll do it, first of all, we are going to punish people who steal from their people. There will be consequences. You will not get away with it. And if you are found guilty of stealing, we will punish you per the law. We will seize the assets that you use that money you stole to buy, and we'll sell it and try to recover some of the money you stole. So there will be consequences, there will be punishment. Then we got to make sure we're paying our healthcare workers, our teachers, our police people a living wage, enough money for them to support their family. Because if you don't, you will encourage them to steal. I keep telling Liberians, if you're supporting me because you want your chance to come and chop, to come and steal Liberian poor money, I am the wrong guy. Because we're going to punish, we're going to go after people who steal. I have one way of finding money to invest in the works. We will stop the waste in government spending. For example, buy all of these expensive vehicles for government officials. We'll be more practical in what we invest in. We'll stop the waste in government spending. We will pay value for what the government uses and procures, but we'll not overpay to the rich or few people. So finding the money through corruption, reducing, eliminating wasteful spending is a second how. Two things I want to talk about that will be different in the Cummings administration. One is, and I mentioned it in the House, is that we'll have a government of inclusion where every Liberian will be seen and represented. So it won't matter what your tribe is, because I keep seeing you don't choose your tribe, you don't choose where you're born, you don't choose whether you're man or woman, you don't choose whether you're young or old, you don't choose whether you're Christian or Muslim or any other religion. Those things should not benefit you or hurt you, because it's not a choice. And our government will reflect all of Liberia. We want competent Liberians, whether you ANC, Liberty Party, CPP, Unity Party, CDC, UPP, whatever your political party, NPP, we want qualified Liberians to come and help us transform our country, change our country for the benefit of all Liberians. The other thing that will be different about the Cummings administration is that we will decentralize how the government is run, how the country is run. We have tried for too long to manage our country from what I call the top down. The developing the country from Monrovia out. Monrovia is not Liberia. And so we want to develop the country from the bottom up, from the towns, from the villages, from the communities, from the districts, to the counties, and then nationally. So we'll decentralize the country, we'll develop from the bottom up, and our government will include all Liberians, regardless of your political persuasion. All you have to do is have the skill, the competence, have the desire and the willingness to help your country and your people, and follow the rules, follow the laws. We don't want people who want to come and play big shot. We want people who want to come for the chance to chop and steal Liberian people money. If we accept those fundamental truths, those fundamental things, you will be a part of this government of inclusion that will be necessary to transform a decentralized Liberia. As I mentioned, we will develop the country from the bottom up because the top-down model has not worked. Top-down meaning everything comes from Monrovia and then we push it out. We want to develop the country from the community level, the village level, district, county, going forward. And that means we got to give more responsibility to the superintendents and even to the city mayors. That means we got to give them more resources, and then we got to hold them accountable to develop their counties and their cities and so on and so forth, right? So superintendents will be just as important, if not more so, than ministers, because we want them to have the authority, the decision-making rights. We'll be clear on their role and responsibility. We'll be clear on their accountability, and we'll make sure they got the resources to develop their counties. And then we'll make it transparent so that the citizens of the county, citizens of Lima, Lofa, Cape Mount, Maryland, Bomi, Papalu, Monserrato, the citizens will know all the counties of Grand Julian, or Sino, or Grand Cru, or Riverside, or River G. But all citizens will know what responsibilities the superintendent have, what resources he or she has, and then they can hold them accountable for spending the resources for the benefit of the people of those countries. So decentralization is one of the key planks. Superintendents having more responsibility is part of that, but we're developing a bigger plan for decentralization of Liberia because I think that's one thing we'll do different that will develop Liberia unlike anything that has been done in the past. One of the things we support, and the current government, President Weah's government, also supports is dual citizenship. In President Weah's first State of the Nation address, he proposed dual citizenship, and it's something that we support as well. But as part of that support, as part of that process, we need to make sure, because one of the fundamental rights of citizenship is the right to vote. And so we want to make sure that our diasporans will have that right, and we'll make it easy for them to exercise that right. And what that means is making sure that in the country where they live, once they're certified as Liberians, they will be able to go to the consulate or to the embassy and cast their vote for whomever they choose to support and vote for. Many other countries around the world do it. Even in Liberia, our Guinean brothers and sisters vote in Liberia for candidates in Guinea, for example. And of course, Americans do it, the Europeans do it, others do it. I believe the Nigerians do it as well. And that's something the Communist Administration will do. The other thing we'll do to harness diaspora, because I believe we got lots of good knowledge and experience in Liberia on the ground, and we will support and will leverage that. I promise and commitment. But we also got good resources and knowledge in the diaspora, and we bring those two together. And so we will have an Office of Diaspora Affairs, where that office will coordinate activities in and amongst all the diasporas and make sure we're leveraging their expertise, those resources, those monies to benefit our country. Many other countries do that. This is not really unique. Israel, for example, has big diasporas in the United States and other parts of the world. And I believe they even have a Ministry of Diaspora Affairs. And so we may or may not make it a ministerial level. We may, something to debate and think about. But we will certainly, under the presidency, have an office of diaspora affairs with the resources and the caliber of people that can coordinate our diaspora activities to make sure we're bringing benefits from the diaspora to Liberia, to our country, so that again, together we can harness and develop Liberia. So there are a few things we're going to do in the first 100 days of our Cummings administration. And so, in no particular order, the first thing we will do on Inauguration Day, the day we get inaugurated, we'll leave from the inauguration ceremony and we'll go straight to work. We will call our first cabinet meeting. Even if the cabinet ministers have not been completely confirmed by the Senate, they will come in as acting ministers. But we will convene our first meeting. We'll go to work on the one because we got so much work to do in Liberia. We're so far behind. And I want to communicate to Liberian people that we're serious about change and transformation, and we're serious about the work. We'll also issue on that day several executive actions and other proclamations. But we'll announce a National Youth Service Program where our young people will be engaged in service, where we want to provide them training and development. Or we want to take a young person from Cape Town and send them to work in healthcare or in education or agriculture in Maryland, for example, where they will get some skills, some training, or small stipend. They will get to know a different part of the country. But a National Youth Service Program will be high on the list. We will also make sure on day one, we are announcing what we're going to do with our young people who are on the streets, commonly referred to as Zogos. We want to make sure we take them off the streets. We identify homes for them where they can get training, where we can stop the drugs from coming to those centers and make sure they get skills. And when they come out, make sure they have jobs to go to. So that's something we'll address, all part of our national youth program, because Liberia is a young country. In the first 100 days, we'll make sure there's a loan program for Liberian businesses, particularly for Liberian market women. This is something I think President we announced in his last State of the Nation address. I don't think he's done anything about it. I hope he does. But if he doesn't, we will do it. And if he does, we'll enhance it to make sure we address the needs of our women. We will make sure on the one we announce an audit of what we inherited. So we'll make sure the integrity institutions, LACC, the General Accounting Commission, all of these institutions have the resources they need to go and audit what will be inherited, so that Liberian people will know exactly what we're taking on. We'll declare assets on the same day, and that of everybody will appoint into government, so that Liberian people also know what assets you come into the government with, and when you're leaving, you got to declare what you're dealing with. So we can, as part of this, we are stopping the stealing thing, this corruption thing. Those are actions we will take as soon as we get to power. But one simple way, again, to show change from a better way is people got to obey the traffic rules. And we'll make sure we're professionalizing. Some of the things will change right away, almost immediately upon taking office, is professionalize the security services in Liberia. I believe, unfortunately, the security services, the police, the NSA, other institutions have been politicized. We want professionals to run those organizations with experience and with skills. We want to give them the resources they need and give them the freedom and the opportunity to run those agencies, to protect the Liberian people, to provide security to Liberian people. And so we'll not politicize ANC people or CPP people or LP people. We want professionals to run those agencies. They are working for the Liberian people, for the Liberian government, not for Alexander Cummings of the ANC. So we'll professionalize it and make sure they got the right people on the right skills. What we'll do on day one is people gotta follow the traffic rules. This idea of turn lane, everybody got siren, and some people can break through the traffic and others can't is something you need to stop. Everybody can follow the rules. Big shot, small shot, middle shot. We don't want any shots. We want Liberians to follow the rules. And following the traffic rules is one of the simplest things we can do. That will make it easier for everybody. And it will show that the rules apply to every Liberian, no matter who you are. And again, that's something we will do immediately, we will do right away, so that Liberians can begin to see a difference almost from day one. I just want to remind my fellow citizens that this election in 2023 is critical. And I know you hear that all the time about every election, but we are at a critical juncture in the history of our country. President we are keeping as a very popular president. Liberians voted for him because we believe he cared and he will do the work to reduce the suffering, to change the direction of the country. It is a fact, my fellow Liberians, that that has not happened. Liberia, by every objective measure, not by Alexander Cummings saying so, because I'm in opposition, by every measure, the suffering of Liberians has increased. However you measure it, unemployment, the prices of things going up, the Liberian dollar being weaker, the stealing, the corruption is worse and worse. My President, we are keeping power. And so as you go to 2023, the decision is yours. Do you want to keep the current government doing the same things they're doing? Do you want to go back to the future? Or do you want to vote for real change? You want to vote for somebody who is committed, who has a track record of results of change. It is up to you, the Liberian people. Don't stay at home. Don't throw your hands up. Don't give up. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. You can make a difference. Your representative matters. Your senator matters. And who you vote for as president and vice president matters. That decision is yours, and I know Nigerians will make the right call. We are wise people. You know, there's a reason why the legislature keeps turning over most of the time. The representatives and senators don't get reelected because you Liberians are trying to get it right. You're trying to find the right people. And so as you think about 2023, don't stay at home. You will have some clear choices. And I know you will choose the choice that is best for you and your family, the choice that is going to bring real change, fundamental change in our country. And I encourage you to do that. To forget the past. Choices were made with the right intent, with the right objectives and goals in mind. It has not materialized. But don't give up. Vote the right choice, and we can move Nigeria forward.
I promise you that together we can and will do the job. A new day is on the horizon. The time for God bless you and God bless Liberia.